Morning, guys. So it's been 2 days since I did a Flippin' live stream. It is Sunday morning, so I am hoping that some people show up and they get notified that we are going live. The last 2 days I had my monthly, what it used to be is going to start to be my monthly warehouse sale, media sale, and I want to talk about the results of that. That's why I didn't have a live stream the last 2 days. So this is basically going to be about the results of that and what happened and how I'm going to be going forward with that sale. So let's get started. Flippin' live, flippin' live, flippin' live, flippin' live, flippin' live. We're gonna strive. We're here to learn and gonna earn. Flippin' live, flippin' live, flippin' live. We're flippin' live. Good morning, guys. CJD is here. Terry and Brian and someone else. Good morning, guys. How you guys doing? I'm glad that you guys are tuning in. I know it's Sunday and it's 7 a.m. here, and haven't had a stream in since Thursday. So anyway, I know I told you guys ahead of time that that's what would happen, but I'm glad to see a few people here. So yeah, I had my sale. Michael, good morning. Please tell us about the sale. Donations are picking up over here. Are you getting more donation pickup requests? Yes, I am. I am getting a lot more donation requests. Excuse me. I'm picking up a box of books today from a lady that I already picked up books from before. And so let me even talk about that before I jump into my sale. So picking up books from her, she contacted me yesterday. I picked up a box of books from her probably a week ago and actually put some of those in my local sale. And some have already sold as well. But anyway, so I'm doing that. So she contacted me and she was happy about that. And then let's see. So I have, let me see here. Where do I have it? I've been contacted by, let's see, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, wow, a lot since I last did a. Here's one. That's what I'm talking about on Thursday. But since I last did a stream on Thursday, so contacted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times since Thursday. Isn't that crazy? I lose track because I had my sale, but there was somebody who contacted me on Thursday. So after I had done my stream with you guys, the last one, and I'll read you essentially what he said. He said to contact him in around a month, and that he used to own a used bookstore in another state. I won't say where, but in another state, and that he has a lot of books. According to him, a very large amount of books in a storage unit in a nearby city, and that he will, towards the end of next month, basically in a month, he'll be able to, because he's working a lot now, access those. Let's see, they're all boxed up. He had this store for 5 years, and he also was a manager of a previous book chain where he was able to collect a lot of books as well, as a manager of the bookstore. So this guy out of nowhere just contacted me because he saw my ad, and and looks to be looks to be excited about giving me all these books. Excuse me. So that kind of fell into my lap, which is similar uh, to the other opportunity of all of the books that I'm going to get this next weekend from the storage unit. So from the other bookstore, and so that fell in my lap. And there's been a couple other smaller potential donations that people are still getting together, including one that's in like a week or so. Anyway, so that's something that just fell into my lap with the potential of getting, I don't know, when he says a lot of books, again, I don't know what that means, considering that he owned a bookstore and was a manager at a large bookstore chain for years. It could be a significant amount of books, you know, it could be, I don't know, I have no idea, but he says a ton, quote unquote, a ton of books. So I'm assuming that when he says that as a bookstore owner, he means a lot. Thankfully, that's not for another month, so that I can do the best that I can do to get through the books that I'm going to get this upcoming weekend on Saturday. And also considering, and I'll start talking about the sale, how that went, and what I'm going to be doing with that going forward. But in the same vein, been talking to my wife about it, and saying that maybe it would make more sense for me to temporarily rent a storage space to store these books that I'm going to be getting on Saturday. Just, you know, month to month storage space like I had before at the same location, which is near to where I live, just to store those books. So basically, I would be moving them from where they are now, the storage unit, to another storage unit, just so I wouldn't clutter up my warehouse with them, and I could just pack them in there to the ceiling, wall to wall, and then I could go through them. Basically, I could just grab 10 boxes, 12 boxes at a time, as many as I could fit in my car, and then bring them to the warehouse and process them there. Not, you know, not at the storage unit. Literally use the storage unit just to store them, and then process them there, and do my sorting process, basically, just so I don't clutter up the space. So anyway, and that also would make sense considering that I might be getting another big donation. Although this isn't a donation, I'm buying the books, but not paying that much for them. But this other one from the guy who closed the bookstore sounds like it would be a donation, and it would be a large quantity of books. So it might make sense for me to keep that storage unit as a place to store all of these books, so that I don't have to be filling my warehouse with them, and cluttering that space up. Michael says, running about 3 requests a day. Are you going to continue with Facebook ads? Yeah, I mean, I don't, at this point, don't necessarily, you know, especially once I get this big, or buy this storage unit of books, I don't necessarily need more books because I'll have so many to go through. But I think I'm going to continue with it just because it's proven to be, ads on Facebook have proven to be the best way for me to grow my Facebook page, because when I run the ad, I always get people who will just on their own like or follow my Facebook page, or they will like, give a thumbs up, etc. to the ad I'm running, and then I can go through there and just hit invite, and Facebook will take care of it and automatically invite the people to like or follow my page, and some of them do, and that's the way that I'm able to grow it. And then those people will see my posts on there, know that I exist, and if they didn't donate to me, they might donate in the future, or they will potentially come to a future sale that I'll have, or they'll tell somebody else, whatever. It's all good. So I'm probably going to continue running the ad. The books are nice, of course. That's point, one of the main points of it. But I'm thinking about more long term and building those relationships. And for me, with the sale, it's more important. The book donations are secondary to me building my brand, which sounds weird, but it's true. People know, they need to know 5-10 books, that it exists, where I am, and that I hold a sale, and that I take donations, and even I'm willing to buy more valuable books or records or whatever it may be. Speaking of records, remind me, someone at the sale, by the way, multiple people donated to me during the sale. 3 people donated items to me One person a CDs, another person books, and another person books, CDs, and DVDs during the sale. And then another woman, well, a couple, but the woman I spoke to, who bought a bunch of kids' books, potentially is going to get me in contact with her daughter, who has inherited apparently hundreds of vinyl records, if not more, that she doesn't know what to do with. So anyway, it kind of snowballs. The more people that know about you, the more you can get, and it comes to you. That's what I've always wanted. Well, at least since I started thinking about having a local sales, what I've wanted is the stuff comes to me. I don't have to go out and get it. But anyway, what did it say? Brian said, you give yourself a certain amount of time to get them out of your new storage unit. I sometimes worry the price of a monthly storage unit might be more than the profits of the items within. Um, yeah, I mean, ideally, I get through them as quickly as possible, but I don't know how many books there actually are, because the person that I'm buying them from doesn't know exactly. They have a vague idea that it's like 2,000 plus books, but that I think they're guessing. I don't think they really know how many boxes there are, which means they certainly don't know how many books there are, because they haven't looked through them, because these weren't their books and they've been sitting there for for several years, I believe. So anyway, my point is that yes, I like to get through them as fast as possible, but if I'm going to be buying even more books in another month, or getting a big donation in another month, then it might make sense to keep it. Um, the smaller unit I had initially was only like 100 and, let's see, it was less than $200. It was like, excuse me, like 150, 160, 170, maybe even less. And it was for a unit that could hold about 6 Gaylords. And I wasn't using all the vertical space. So if I rent that smaller space, and go stack boxes to the ceiling, wall to wall, I can fit probably a lot of boxes of books in there. Um, the other unit that I had, the last unit, storage unit, which was much bigger, which was like a 12 by, or no, like a 20 by 12, or I don't know, something like that. It was longer. That one is probably much too big for this, and it was like over three. I think it was like $360. So that was a bit much. That'd be a bit much to pay for. So I'd probably try the smaller one and see if I can fit all the boxes in there. But yeah, I would definitely not want to keep it for that long. Only as long as I really need to use it for storage. And once I get through all the books, then I would probably close it out. So yeah. Terry says, is being ungated for records automatic? Um, what do you mean automatic? You mean if you try to get ungated? Or I don't understand what you mean, Terry. Because in my circumstances, I was already, um, grandfathered in, I guess, because I had been selling CDs, well, music. I was already grandfathered into the music category. In terms of getting ungated now, you have to, I guess, submit some invoices or something, and there are some companies that'll help you with that, but you have to pay a good amount of money um, to buy the inventory. So I'm not sure if that's what you're asking. Um, so the sale was a big success. I kind of don't know where to start with it. If you have questions about how the sale went, you can ask me. I'm going to talk about just all random stuff that happened at the sale. So again, if you're new to my channel, which I know you guys are not, but people in the future, just give them an introduction. If you're new, I've been reselling online since 2014, just online. But I always, actually a few years ago, so years ago, I wanted to open my own local sale because I got into bulk, um, especially into CDs, especially into a lot of media. So I started accumulating all this extra media before I started doing eBay. And I had it in my storage unit, and I tried out flea markets. I tried out a flea market. I tried out what is it called? Flea market, and I forgot the other name of one, but swap meet. I tried out a swap meet and a flea market, and it was way, way, way too much work to pack up and bring everything to those sales. So I decided not to do that. Just kept it in my warehouse or my storage unit, and then was looking for a few years for a warehouse space that made sense for me, and I finally found one near my house, month to month lease, which I was all surprised that I even found, and it was affordable. So I've been in that warehouse space since last year, and I've been doing monthly sales since the beginning of November. I did 5 sales up until March, and then quarantine prevented me from doing a sale until now. So that's a little synopsis for people that don't know. And so this is my first sale since first weekend of March, and it's my sixth overall sale. So I've only done 6 of them, which is hardly any at all. I'm still learning as I go, and I will continue to learn and get better the more sales I do. It's really the only way to learn. So anyway, so that's the synopsis, and I had my 6th sale. Let's see. Oh, sorry. So Terry, yes, I am ungated without having to apply to be ungated. Yes, because I was grandfathered in. I remember back in, was it 2016, November? For some reason, it sticks in my head. Like November 1st, 2016 is when they closed off the music section. If you weren't already selling music, they didn't. Then you weren't grandfathered in. So I did not have to get ungated. I was already in the category when they closed it off to new sellers, or I guess people who maybe had been selling other things but had never sold music. As I assume that's how it worked. And so, and they did that. And by the way, Amazon did that without telling anybody that they were going to do it or that they even had done it. Apparently, people just started realizing, wait a minute, suddenly music category is gated when before it wasn't. That's why I was able to sell in the music category CDs, because it was open like books. You could just sell, and then they just suddenly closed it off. I don't know. Maybe it was piracy or copyright issues. I don't know. Um, so how many people showed up? Brian asked. Over 100 between the 2 days. So easily like 120 or so people. Um, I had return customers. Yes. Did I limit the number of customers anytime? No, I didn't. I just required that people wear masks, and everybody did wear masks. People showed up with their masks, and I didn't have to tell anybody. There wasn't one person that I had to tell to wear a mask. They all wore one. At the very end, on Saturday, 2 guys showed up on scooters, and there was only one other person there, and they didn't have masks on, but it was, it was okay. But aside from that, everybody wore masks. I had as many as, like, at my peak times on both days. I think Saturday was the busiest at one point. There was at least like a dozen people there, and my whole warehouse space is 800 square feet, and I'm using about 75% of it for the sale. So it's less than that. What is that? Maybe 650 square feet that I'm using. So it's not a big space. And and I have tried to use the space as best as I can, but my wife is much better at this stuff, at organizing and utilizing the space and all of that. And so now we are already talking about, like yesterday, we had a long conversation about how to make it a more usable space, because there was, it was tight for people to fit in between the tables. And so we're talking about going more vertically than using tables less and vertical shelving more. So we're already starting to look for stuff that would work. So I had a good amount of people show up. Actually, Friday, so both days opened at 8 a.m. My hours that I had posted on all the ads and everything, and in my Facebook page, was 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. So on Friday, there were actually 2 people waiting there. They were already there when I showed up at about 7:30 to open, to start opening, and I just let them in. So opened up everything, and then started. I had a few tables I had to put outside and put CDs on there, and then I had to go and put out the signs because I'm right next to a main intersection that gets a lot of traffic. So I put 3 signs on the corners there, and then I put a sign out in front of the warehouse on the street, just next to the side, between the sidewalk and the street. That's a much bigger sign, sort of like a sandwich board that I've created. And anyway, so I put all that out and came back, and there were 3. So there ended up being 3 people there right when I opened. And from from that moment until 2:30, there was always somebody there on Friday. So there wasn't one moment that there wasn't somebody there. And then Saturday was a little different, where I opened up, and there was one family that came that was really the only people there for a little while, for like 45 minutes. Uh, and there was a couple times where there was nobody there on Saturday for a little bit of time, not much. And then it picked up in the morning. And then after about like 12:30, it's like everybody ate lunch, and then they just started pouring in, and it was packed. No, before 12, sorry. It was like 11:45, 11:30, for a few hours, which is a lot of people. So that's kind of, I mean, when I say a lot, like I said, I had probably had over 120 people. I made, okay, so I used, here, let me show you. I used Square. You guys are probably familiar with Square. It's a point of sale software that you can have on your, oh, let me change the settings here. You can download it for free on your phone. And if you have an iPad, you can use it on your iPad, or settings. And then, you basically just connect it to, a bank account. So here's Square. This is the checkout page. And you can take cards, but also I can track all my sales. So all my cash transactions, I'm just using this like a cash register. And I will probably end up, well, I don't know if I will buy an iPad for this, but anyway, for now it's my phone. It works fine. And you can just add up everything. So basically, you have a library here. You can see I got audiobooks and Blu-ray and books and CDs. So I listed everything that I have for sale, put a dollar amount to it, so that as I'm checking people out, I can just punch in there. And then, what was my point? Oh, right. My point is that it tracked how many sales that I had. So I had 100 sales, individual sales. A few people bought twice, not that many, but it was basically 100 sales. So around 100 people made a purchase. Maybe, I say about 20 people maybe didn't buy. It probably was not that many. It was probably like 10 or 12 that walked in, and then they left without buying anything. But majority of people made a purchase, even if they only bought one or two items. Okay, Michael, this is a great question. And unfortunately, I did not. I emailed the person who I looked back through my emails, and I found the email of the person that owns the website, and I had paid, or I had, paid for before, back in like November or something like that. And they didn't respond to me. So what I'm going to do this time is, I'm going to go through their whole form, that they have for setting up a sale. And I'm going to set that up early, and I'm going to use them this time, or I'm going to advertise on there, because I did not this time, and I was a little late for that anyway. So I advertise at least a good month, 3 weeks ahead of time, and see if that works, right? I think it will, though, because I did it before, and I did get people to show up through the site. So I'll use that next time, because one of the things that comes to mind for this sale is I did not have a lot of book readers. I mean, a good amount of people did buy books. Don't get me wrong. I sold a good amount of books, but definitely not enough to really, clear out a lot of the shelves. So I'm going to utilize that resource and hope that, just the resource that it is, that a lot of people, book buyers, go there. Not just resellers. I know a lot of resellers go there, like myself in the past, and like you guys use that probably for library sales, but also readers, people that just want to buy for themselves or for others, for actually reading the books and not reselling them. That hopefully I'll get a lot of those people. And I'm sure I will get some resellers who've never heard of my store before, and that's fine. But anyway, I will advertise next time now on that. So I had 100 sales. Now, last time, I'm trying to remember. Right, last time I had, so just in comparison, so in March I had about just under 50 sales. So I doubled my sales compared to March. And then in February I had around 50 sales as well. So from February to March, I didn't see an increase in the amount of sales I had, but also that was the very beginning of the virus and COVID and people knowing about it and people starting to, not go out as much. And that was before people wearing face masks though. But anyway, so I jumped to 100, um, and where I advertised on Facebook. I spent $100 on Facebook ads. I advertised on this garage sale. It's an app, and they also own 5 websites, and then they also send out some sort of email to people about my sale and everyone else's sale. And I spent $30 on that, so it's $130 on advertising. And then I posted for free on Facebook Marketplace, on Craigslist, and that was it, I think. So that was the extent of my advertising online. Now, however, those signs that I put on the street brought in at least like 20 people, minimum, if not more. I'm sure they brought in other people that I didn't know they had brought in, because I was pretty good about asking people how they found out about the sale. And most people said through Facebook. A couple people said Craigslist, so that still works. A couple people said the garage sale website or app. And then a lot of people said because of the signs. So it was a good mixture. Um, Michael asked, did I see anyone scanning there or reselling? So let me think. There was one guy who showed up early on Friday, a young guy who I thought was scanning, uh, but he may not have been for resale because he ended up buying books and he was talking about reading them himself. So he may not have been a reseller. And then let's see. There wasn't any other resellers that I was aware of, um, especially for the books. But some people were using their phones to look things up, but I don't. It wasn't for reselling. I don't know what it was for. And there wasn't, though there was a reseller who did show up. However, he was from China, uh, a Chinese guy, and he was actually buying them to resell them in China. So apparently he buys them here in the U.S. and he has them shipped, like a huge quantity. He has them shipped to back to China, and I don't know how he sells them in China. I didn't ask. I don't know if he sells them, online there or he has a storefront or what, but that's what he was doing, and he bought a lot of CDs. He bought records and a lot of CDs on Friday, and then he came back on Saturday and ended up buying 109 CDs from me. Uh, so yeah, so there was that guy. He was a reseller, but not here in the States, because he was also buying a lot of more popular common titles, and he was buying. If I had 2 copies of something, he'd buy it. So he bought stuff that a lot of people didn't buy or don't buy. No, I didn't have. No, no, no. It's fine. I didn't have Gone with the Wind. I looked and I thought I had it, but apparently I didn't have a copy of it. So, which was too bad. That would have been fun to find a copy on my shelf and be able to list it online. But no, I didn't. I got a lot of older stuff, older movies there, but not Gone with the Wind. So there were definitely. I had 46 sales on Friday, and then 54 on Saturday. So I had a little more sales on Friday, 8 more sales, and there were more people there for sure. Uh, but again, do the numbers, right? 100 sales in 2 days. I was open from 8 to 2, so that's what is that? 6 hours. So that's 12 hours. However, I was open a little later on both days. Friday, it basically at 2:35 or so, it stopped. People stopped coming in. Saturday, like I said, there was a couple people that trickled in at the end, and I was basically done by 3:30. So, and then my wife was there with the kids, and she helped me on Saturday a lot because I got swamped, and I probably wouldn't have been able to deal with it very well by myself. It would have been tough. And so I was able to go out, later in the day and take down all the signs. And then they left, and I was able to break down everything and close. So I got out of there by like 4 o'clock. But only 100 sales. When I say only, I mean that I could have the amount of stuff that I have could have handled double that sales, right? I had enough books, have enough DVDs, plenty of records, plenty of CDs. So I have enough supply or items to sell. I just need more people to show up. And part of that is, so it just takes time, right? There's other big thing that I realized at the sale, or that was made obvious to me, was a lot of people were telling me. I had at least like 10 people tell me, if not more, oh, I live just down the street or around the corner, or I work just down the street or around the corner and was just driving by after work, or was just driving by on my lunch break, or driving by to go to the store, etc. And just saw your signs. And so I came in. I didn't know you were here. How often do you have the sale? Da 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 da. And so I tell them, follow me on Facebook. Our next sale is it's going to be July 24th, 25th. And also, hold on, jot something down. Yeah, and so they're like, "Oh, great, cool, I love it. I'll be back next time," and that kind of thing. And so there is a lot of people in the area that don't know that I exist, right? Which makes sense because it's only my sixth sale, and it's just going to take time. Even though I advertise on Facebook, I'm only spending a certain amount of money, so it's only getting in front of a certain amount of people, and I'm basing it on people's interests in, reading, books, music, DVDs, that kind of stuff, vinyl records, people that have said they're interested in that stuff. So there's plenty of people that are on Facebook that for whatever reason didn't put those interests, and so will never see the ad or might not ever see it, or they're not on Facebook, or they're just hardly ever look at Facebook. So there's a lot of people that just don't know, and it'll just take time. My signs will bring in these people. Advertising in other places might bring them in, but mostly, just them seeing the local sale. So a couple other things that I need to do. I'm gonna buy business cards, because several people asked me for a card and I didn't have one. I just said we're online, Facebook. So I need to have a card to give to certain people. That's the other thing, guys. There's some people, especially older people, that are not on Facebook, or they might be on it, but they don't really use it. They're not that great at using it. They don't really like to use it. And it might be better just to give them a card, and they would actually use the card. They would actually, oh, okay, here's the address, the name of it, the guy's name, I'll put my name on there, my phone number. So that kind of thing. There's different, not everybody's on Facebook. I found out some people are on Instagram instead of Facebook. Some people are not online at all. So it's better for me to have different options. Facebook is great, but I can also have a business card. I'm on Instagram, but I'm not using it to promote my local sale, but I think I will start doing that as well. That's another thing. This is what I mean, that I'm going to kind of be all over the place, because there was a lot of thoughts going through my head. But Instagram as well. I met a woman who owns a local business where she makes, she has a business where it's like something for parties, where she does all this cool stuff for, I'll just show you, for like birthday parties for kids. Oh, I don't even know where this is. There it is. So she does like stuff like this, like set stuff like that up for kids' birthday parties. And she says that she uses, here, I'll just show you. She's here in my area, so you're not going to use her if you're not here. But she has, all those followers, 1,300 followers. She also follows a lot of people. But she says through Instagram stories, which you guys may or may not know about. I've heard of it before, but I've just never used it on Instagram. That she's, through her stories and using that function and hashtags and location and all that stuff, she says that she gets people inquiring about her services and gets business for free without even using paid advertising. So I'm going to start doing some research about that, and watching some videos online and learning about, and using her as a resource too, because she was really friendly and upfront about it and saying she's, willing to help me out to learn about it. So anyway, Instagram might become a thing as well, in addition to Facebook, because it's free. Anyway, I'm going off on tangents here. So business cards, Instagram. Also, better signage. I'm going to invest in a big sign that I'm going to put out. You see those signs that are like vinyl, stretched out. Sometimes they're tied to a building or fences or whatever, but also you can have like a metal frame and you tie it around metal, whatever it is, tubing that you can tie it around, and so that it's taut and open and you can see the sign. I'm probably going to buy something like that. I don't know how much that costs, or if I go to Staples or a local printer or something, find out what that is, that whole process, and have it stretched out in front of the building, right up on the street, so that as people drive by, it'll be a huge sign and nobody will miss it. Book and media sale, and just have like vinyl records, video games, CDs, DVDs, books, whatever. Have it all printed out, big letters, so that people will see it and not miss out, and that will bring in even more people. Because as I was picking up the signs afterwards, and I turned the corner and saw my big sign, it's still hard to read. It's not big enough to where you can easily read it. There's actually a church across the street from my warehouse space, and on the corner at the main intersection, they have this huge, longer than my arms reach, sign like that, like on vinyl, printed out, nicely done with graphics and all that, for their church. Blah de blah church. Uh, every Sunday at 10 a.m. or whatever, advertising, and it's not something you're going to miss. They have it out there all the time, but I would just put mine out there for my sales, something that I could erect, put out there and then take down. So business card signage, these are kind of things that I'm thinking about. Brian asked, have you thought about posting paper flyers at grocery store bulletin boards? Lots of people pass by them on the way in or out of the stores. Yeah, there's all kinds of ways. That's definitely one. There's flyers too. Just, pay somebody or do it myself to put 100, 200 flyers on people's cars. Well, that is a little bit annoying, but yeah, no, there's definitely different older school ways to advertise. So I will try out, Instagram. I'm gonna get business cards for when people come in to give them out, and signage I think will be a much more effective, or it'll be much more effective when I have nice looking signs. Also, I'm thinking about maybe getting those sandwich board ones that I can put on the street corners so that they're bigger. People can see them more easily, and hopefully no one steals them. But anyway, so that's some of the thoughts I'm having. Please, if you guys have questions, go ahead and ask. So let's see. Oh, okay, so so also the other thing is, I realized, and my wife said, that I need to form an LLC with 510 books. So I'm going to go ahead and do that before my next sale. And then I'm going to get the cards, because I'm probably just going to get the LLC, and then I can print it on the card so that people see that it's incorporated, or an LLC, whatever, that it's a business, official business. And then also I need to look into liability insurance, because one thing, okay, so while we were there, or during my sale on Saturday, I have a bookshelf in the far corner of the room, the warehouse, that's close, right up against the roll-up door. And I've been using that for a while. I've had it since, I don't know, since almost the beginning, if not the beginning of doing these monthly sales, and it's worked out fine, no issues. And a woman was looking on, and I had swapped out DVDs there and put all of my kids' books there. And there was a woman looking at them yesterday, and suddenly the shelving collapsed and just fell down. And luckily, because there's books there, it just fell on top of the books. It didn't, fall on her, or nothing like that happened. But so that fell down. And then when I took a look at it, it turns out that, if you have the shelving like this, that one side of it had sort of like popped open at the top, where it connects at the seam. Somehow it had come unglued or whatever, it disconnected and it just kind of opened up, which then meant that as it separated, uh, the shelving sort of, the pegs sort of came out a little bit of the shelving, and with the weight of the books, it just fell. So that shelving unit is done, and then I had to put all the books in. I had some crates and boxes, and so they're on the ground. And I was just noticing like people walking around them, was like, well, what if someone trips? And anyway, stuff like that could happen. So I'm gonna have to look into that as well. The more people that show up. All right. Oh, also, I think I'm gonna try doing a Sunday next time. I started doing just Saturdays, and then I did Friday, which did really well. So I kept Friday and Saturday, and I was just thinking, if Sunday would be a good day to do a sale as well. So I'm gonna try it out next time as a test run, just to see what happens, and go from there. If a good amount of people show up, then I'll keep Sunday, and if not, I probably won't do it. But my assumption is that each day is a little different, and it'll probably bring different people. Also, the thing about Sunday is that a lot of people go to church. I know now, because of quarantine and people having to wear face masks and whatnot, maybe not as many people are going, but even by the end of July, there'll still probably be a lot of people attending.
Happy Father's Day!
Thank you. Okay. So anyway, so Sunday could be good because of that, and also I'm right across the street from a church. So if I'm open and I have a giant sign and people are getting out of church and they look across the street or driving past and say, "Hey, look at that! There's a sale. Let's go!" And I'm sure I will get some people. And some people just like to drive around after church on a Sunday, or just drive around in general. So who knows? Yeah, I was thinking, yeah, definitely not going to start at 8 a.m. on Sunday. Probably maybe like 10 a.m. or something like that. Maybe 10 to 2 or whatever, and just kind of play around with the hours and see what happens. But even if I get, another 30, 40 people to show up and buy something, it would be worth it. So Sunday is going to be a try. So, okay, what do you guys think the number one selling category was at the sale? So I have, books, and then I have all other types of media. I mean, the main types of media anyway. That Okay, sorry. So I'm just looking it up. What do you guys think about that? I'm gonna look up. Okay, yeah. So what do you guys think the number one selling item or category was? Do you think it was books, CDs, vinyl records, DVDs, video games, or audiobooks? Well, it wasn't audiobooks. It was not audiobooks. So one of those top five, one of those five, what do you guys think it was? I'm curious if you guys would know. Hmm. No guesses. Brian says CDs. Anybody else? Anybody else? DVDs, Michael says. Anyone else? Okay, so the number one selling category was CDs. Brian was right. By a mile. By a mile. I have count here. I have number of what is this? Oh, top categories, right? Oh, top items and top categories. I see. Well, anyway, so this is top items. So look at CDs. Can you see that? 320 CDs. Vinyl records, 102. Other media, that's going to be mostly CDs and records. And then DVDs were 81, kids chapter books 81. That's yeah, I sold a lot of kids chapter books. So categories were the same. CDs were number one, vinyl records second. Actually, books were third for entire category. So for books were actually third. Because up here I had what did I have? Other media, but books are third. So that says to me that people that I should continue offering a lot of CDs, and if not even put out more, and that I should keep going strong with the records, that those are popular, and also that I should advertise on Book Sale Finder for to get more book buyers, more readers in there, because I could have sold, I could have had 50 more sales for books. I don't have a ton of books, but I have probably like 1,200, 1,500 books. I had anyway at the beginning of the sale. Because as you can see, I sold 196 books. More than that, actually. More than that. Over 200 anyway. But yeah, 322 CDs. That's crazy. That's a lot. So yeah, people seem to be into the CDs more than anything else. And I got cleaned out. I mean, there's a lot of space in especially in the CDs, or in where I have the CDs organized alphabetically. A ton of space there. Like I'm going to be able to put out, as you can see, hundreds of CDs, which is great. This is what I've wanted, right? Is to sell a lot so that I can fill in the gaps and put a lot more out there. I already have about 6 to 7 crates full of CDs that are already alphabetized, that I can put in there and plug in the hole. So I'm probably going to go through a couple crates, 2 or 3, to fill them in for the next sale. And a lot of people are asking me that. That's another thing. If you're going to do a local sale, a lot of people are asking me, so do you have new stuff out every sale? And I say, yes, I put out, which I do. I put out more new used titles. But yeah, a lot of people were asking that question. So yeah, I was actually. I mean, I guess I shouldn't say I was surprised by how many CDs were bought, but still surprised by how much CDs dominated the sales. I think that'll change once I tap into book readers more, using advertising on that site. Hopefully that'll bring some, and just getting the word out more. I think that book sales would probably start rivaling CDs. There's just a lot of readers, and I haven't tapped into. The other market I have barely tapped into, which I just saw the power of, is moms, right? Moms with young kids. I mean, it could be young kids, but also just kids, younger kids anyway. I mean, I have 5 and a 7-year-old, and they're not. My 5-year-old does not. He's starting to learn to read, and he's not reading yet. But I'm just saying, my point is, he's not going to have the board books, the little books that the toddlers gnaw on, or the babies. But he's picture books and that type of stuff. Whereas my daughter's already reading chapter books, and so I sold a lot of kids chapter books, and 2 people came in and bought like 160 or 50 kids picture books. So I sold a ton of those, even though I had them in boxes and they weren't on the shelves. It doesn't matter. I mean, this woman had like 2 stacks, huge stacks of books that she bought, and I only charged 50 cents. So for those books each. But I've barely tapped into that. If I can get even like 20 moms with kids to come through, I mean, it could be dads too, but typically it's the moms to come through. I mean, they'll clean me out of the kids' books. They'll just clean them out. So it's even, between the chapter books and the picture books, won't have many left. So now I have the dilemma of having to get more. I'm getting book donations, but oftentimes there's not very many kids' books in there. So I'm going to have to think about how to get more kids' books. So in terms of the pricing, so books, kids, the kids picture books. So those are 50 cents each, soft and hardcover. I will individually price um, some kids books that might be like big hardcover books, might be a buck or $2 or something depending, but for the most part they're 50 cents. The kids chapter books are $1, and then the rest of the books are $2 for paperbacks and $3 for hardcover. And of course there's some that I price higher. So I had this huge book that I got. So on Thursday, I went with my kids to do a drop off of 4 boxes of books at a little free library. And this is a lady who is I've gotten a lot of books from. She gets a lot of donations, and I got this big white naval book, a really cool looking naval book, and I put it out for sale, and somebody bought it for $5. So I have some books like hardcovers or more valuable stuff. I don't price them that high though. 4, 5, $6. But that's that. And then the DVDs are all $2. Blu-rays are $3. TV box sets are $3. All video games are $3. CDs are $2. So if it has up to 2 or 3, if it's like a multi-disc pack, I'll just charge $2 if it's got like 2 or 3 discs. If it has more than that, I'll charge $3. And there are a few individual CDs that I've priced higher that are more valuable. So audiobooks are $2. So everything's really inexpensive. So people say, oh, $2, and they buy 10 CDs, no big deal. Books, they'll buy a bunch of books at the same time. Oh, and the records are $3 a piece, the majority of them. And then I have 2 boxes of higher priced records. So I'm basically just trying to sell my records locally and not really sell too many online unless they are worth a lot more money. Then I will. I have a pile of maybe like 10 records that I'm going to photograph and list on eBay. So that's how my pricing is. Also, in regards to pricing, what I've been doing before, and I did this sale, is I offered 50% off after 1 o'clock on Saturday, so the last hour, and up until we closed. Now, I had a lot of people there after 1 o'clock, and so they were happy, to hear the 50% off, but hardly anybody knew that I had 50% off sale going. And the main point of it was initially to try to get more people to show up, number one, at the end of the sale, and number two, to try to get people to buy more so that I could clear the shelves more, so I would have more space to put more items out for the next sale. So I don't think I'm going to do the 50% off anymore, though. Tell me what you guys think, but I think I'm just going to not do that and maybe think about some other ways of giving discounts. Maybe if people buy over a certain dollar amount, that I'll give a percentage off, or loyal customers. My wife was talking about a punch card, or just having my business card and writing, okay, 50% off, your next purchase, or something like that. Because number one, of course, if I have 50% off of everything, I'm making 50% less. Number two, it just feels a little like, not desperate, but a little bit too much. Like, I'm not a library sale. They try to sell everything, and they essentially turn over. They donate, however they get rid of all their excess books and everything left over from sale to sale. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to get rid of stuff for the most part that I had that didn't sell. It's just a matter of me not having enough people show up. If I get another 100 people to buy, from 100 sales to 200 sales, make that jump, well, they're going to buy more of the stuff that I already have out there. So there's no reason to get rid of it. Now, if there's certain items after I start getting a lot of people to show up that just aren't selling, then I will probably pull them, like, some books and stuff and some records maybe, or whatever. But so I'm thinking I'm not going to do the 50% going forward. Just going to think about other ways to give discounts to people, especially that buy more, because I think it does make sense if you buy, like if you spend a certain dollar amount, then maybe next time you come, here's my business card. I'll write 50% off, next your next purchase, or I don't know. I'm still thinking about it, how to go about it. But I don't think it's necessary for me to do that to bring in more people and to clear off the shelves. My prices are already really low. So people, they're already happy. They're like, oh, it's only $2 for a CD, or oh, it's only $2 for the book, or $1 for a chapter book, or $2 for a DVD, or only $3 for a TV box set. Where else are you going to go, excluding thrift stores, to find these kind of deals locally? You can't go to the record store and get a $2 CD, at least not around here. And my stuff is organized. I've checked all the discs. As I put them out, I check them, make sure I have a resurfacer. So just in case something looks a little bit too rough, then I can resurface it. So anyway, so that's what I think about that. Yeah, I know. I just feel like I'm selling myself short by doing 50% across the board, and it felt a little weird. So I'm going to take my discomfort as a sign that I shouldn't do it anymore. I don't mind coming up with some, like you said, right? I mean, Brian says buy, what did he say? Yeah, buy 4 books, get 1 free. Yeah, something like that. That's a good idea. Or spend a certain amount of money, 25% off your next sale, or 25% off this sale. Maybe if you spend $50, I'll take 25% off. I don't know. I have to really think about the best way to go about that, and that might just take some time to brainstorm and come up with what the strategy would be. So the guy that was reselling for over in China, he was trying to get a bulk deal. He was there on Saturday, so he got half off, and he didn't seem happy even with that. So that's going to happen, but I held firm. There were a couple other people that asked for bulk deals, and I said, well, if you buy the whole store, sure, I'll give you a great deal, right? But of course, they don't want to buy the whole store. So if you're going to open a local sale, I recommend just keeping strong to that. That's why, though, I feel I should have something to reward people that are buying a lot. Maybe have tiers. If you spend $50, 25% off. If you spend over $100, I don't know, 30% off, 40% off. I don't know yet. I have to think about it. And also I have to take examples of other retail stores and what they do. I know there's a loyalty thing where they have a punch card. You punch out 5 of them, and you get to 5th one, and then 50% off your next sale. There's loyalty stuff. There's spend a certain amount and get a certain percentage off. Buy 4, get 1 free. There's different stuff. So I do want to implement that, though, just as a way, because people like it, right? Buy 4 books, get 1 free. Buy 5 CDs, get 1 free. Whatever. But just doing, bulk, like just having someone come in and say, oh, can you give me something off for bulk? Well, then I can say, oh, yeah, if you spend $50, I'll give you 25% off. If you spend $100, I'll give you 40% off. If you spend $200, I'll give you 50% off, tiers maybe. I don't know. Going to use wholesale. Yeah. So another, this was a great sale. And I'm just thinking forward about how to make it better. Like I said, my wife and I are talking about, we're looking online and looking for certain shelving that would make more sense, so that instead of having a long table of CDs, I could put them up on some sort of, there's these shelving units called gondola shelves. I didn't know that's what they were called, but they're retail shelving where it's 2-sided, and they have, on the ends, they have shelves. So it's basically shelves all around 360 degrees around the shelf. And it's one that you can put, in the middle of the store, the space. And so it doesn't take up a lot of width. It's kind of long, but it doesn't take up a lot of width. So someone can walk around it and look at, or you can put them side to side. They have like one on the end, one in the middle, one on the other end, right? Kind of a deal. And so you can put CDs, DVDs, whatever would make sense, instead of, because one of the problems with my CDs is they're just spread out. The books are all up against the wall. The DVDs, for the most part, are up against the wall, and I have 2 tables of DVDs as well. But if I have more shelving in the middle going up, then I can create more space. So we're going to start working on that and just setting it up. And also, I think what I'm going to do is use the whole space for the sale and leave myself some space behind the retail space so that I can have space to sort, take photographs for eBay, and also just go through stuff. I mean, I'll have space on the sales floor, to in between sales to put boxes of books and other media while I'm organizing and preparing. But I am going to use the whole space because this was really indicative of, or this really showed me the potential of the sale. And again, I don't even say I'm even scratching the surface of how many people could potentially show up to this, especially if I really open up the whole warehouse and use the space in a much better way. So number one, I can put out a lot more, could put out double the amount that I have out now. Maybe double, I don't know. Maybe I'm going too far with that, but a lot more. And then, another 1,000 items added would be huge. And also there would be more space for people to move around so that I could handle an influx of traffic. So, 12 people being there yesterday at one time was kind of a lot. Maybe there was even like 15 people, including some kids and whatnot. And people were kind of, oh, excuse me, oh, sorry, trying to squeeze by each other. But if I open it up a bit more and use more vertical space, that hopefully people have more space, they'll feel more comfortable. And I can handle having 20, 25 people there at one time versus it being too crowded. So yeah, and this also made me realize that I think I'm gonna keep going full bore with FBA. As much stuff as I find donated to me that I can make a profit on FBA, I will send it in, and I will grow that as much as possible. But eBay, I think I'm going to focus more on $20, $25 plus items, and that if something's going for $10, $12, maybe I'll just sell it for an extra $1 or $2, in my sale. And also that's a way to over time to attract resellers who don't mind spending $1 or $2 on something that they can sell for 12 or 13 bucks on eBay. I'm just saying that, opening that up so that I don't spend so much time on the lower profit items on eBay and try to focus more on the higher stuff. We'll see how it goes, but these are just thoughts, lots of thoughts going in my head. But I do enjoy the idea. I do enjoy the idea of selling locally a lot more. There's nothing like building relationships with people face to face. You can't compete with that online. Them knowing me, meeting me in person, shaking their hand. Well, not now, but non-COVID-19 times, shaking their hand, chatting. They're going to come back, and as long as I continue to have my sale every month, put out new stuff, have low prices, offer discounts for buying more, whatever, people are going to more than likely come back, especially because there's just not really anything in my area. There's a record store, there are thrift stores, but the record store, it's different animal. They have new releases. I think their cheapest stuff is like $3 for a CDs, and that's not popular titles. So anyway, it's a unique proposition to the local community. Okay, what'd you guys say? A punch card would also serve as a reminder when people see it in their wallet or purse. I agree. And it's probably not too expensive to buy a stack of 100 punch cards. I remember that happening with video rental places, right? Like Blockbuster and stuff like that. My wife says there's like standalone clothing stores where they have punch cards and you get 5 and then you get like 50% off or something after you get 5 punch cards. So, or punches in your card. So it does motivate people to come back. The only thing is that it's only once a month, so I only will have 12 sales a year. So that would probably be a downside to that, but I'll think about it. With stores closing, look for store fixtures. Maybe give out cards to closeout manager and buy at end. Now, those are good ideas, Joe. Thank you for that. I'm going to be looking online and looking up retail shelving and that type of stuff and see what I can find, because we were looking online for brand new stuff and it can get pricey. $200, for this gondola shelving unit is kind of expensive. So we'll see, but it's important to reinvest into your business. So I am going to continue to sell online. Don't worry about it. I'm not going to stop selling on Amazon or eBay. I'm just probably going to pull back on eBay and focus more on listing stuff that will sell quickly or sell for more money. Because I don't think I'll have a problem with some stuff that if I can sell it for $12 on eBay, instead, why don't I just list it for $4 or $5 in my local sale? And also, I wouldn't mind taking a little less profit, $1 or $2 less profit in my local sale, to be able to offer a bigger variety of items, and items that they would maybe, someone that might actually check on Amazon or eBay and say, oh, look, this item's, I can't get it for less than 11 or 12 bucks, and here I can get it for $4 or $5. Then they'll be like, yeah, I found a great deal. And I would rather, make $2 less, and not have to worry about photographing it and listing it and shipping it, and then have that person buy it. And in their mind, they're like, wow, there's a good deals here. I'm going to come back and I'm going to tell somebody, oh, I found this. I mean, just yesterday, a guy who is a repeat customer, and he usually doesn't buy that much stuff. He likes like Broadway musicals and older movies and soundtrack, like Broadway musical soundtracks. He's an actor, right? He was an actor singer. He's a retired guy now, but very friendly, talkative guy. And that's what he did. He acted, in plays, and he sang, and he knew a guy who was on the cover of a musical. He knew the guy personally. He had worked with him. And what was my point? And right. And he found that CD and he said, yeah, I can't, this is $16 online and I got it for $2 from you. He's like, thank you so much. So guess what? He was already coming back, but he's going to come back every single time. He'll tell other people. He'll be like, you essentially want to create, raving fans or customers who will become your own sort of marketing arm without you even having to tell them. They will tell other people. A guy on Friday, while he was there, was excited about all the CDs I had. And he called a friend and was like, yeah, these guys got like thousands of CDs and they're all organized, alphabetized. And that guy he had on the phone on Friday came on Saturday, because I started chatting with him and he told me, yeah, my friend called me. I was like, oh, I remember. That's right. And he bought a couple CDs. There you go. Right. So I would rather put some stuff that doesn't go for a ton of money online, and instead of spending my time photographing it, listing it, and shipping it, I can just slap a price on it, a couple more bucks, and just have it in the sale there locally, and have someone, have that enjoyment of finding something that they got for a deal, and they know it's much cheaper there than it is online because they've been looking for it, or they might look it up while they're there or afterwards and say, yeah, wow, that was a good deal. So anyway, so that's what I'm thinking. All over the place. Joe says there are used store fixture sellers here in Maine. Glass cube system might be good for bigger books. Cool. I'll look into all that stuff. Thanks, Joe. So I need to take off. What else? Is there anything else I wanted to say about it? No, those were all my points. In terms of my gross sales, I don't know if I should say exactly what I had for my gross sales. So instead, I will just say that on day one, okay, I will say this, 100 sales. Well, no, that would give it away. So I had 100 sales, and my first day on Friday, I had enough sales to cover my lease payment. So my lease payment is $900 a month. On day two, I would have surpassed day one, except I had 50% off. So I ended up gross sales selling a little bit less on Saturday, but I would have definitely done more if I hadn't had the 50% off. but that's okay. That's fine. You know, you live and learn, and I'm gonna do something different with percentages off. So, but yeah, the sales for the 2 days was incredible. Oh, also, I used Square, so I don't have it here. I left it at the warehouse. It's a little tiny mag strip slider thing. So you just plug it in the body of your phone. It's really small, to white, little square thing, and you just run this card through there, and people can pay with a card. So my card, so out of all the sales, I had over $500 in sales with a card. So Square takes like 2.6% plus 10 cents each swipe. And they show you the fees here. Actually, my total fees were not very much, less than $20. So I'm willing to do that because initially I was only accepting cash, and some people, they would say, "Oh, that's too bad. I don't have any cash," or they would go and get some cash and come back, or they would say they would come back and they wouldn't. So I'd rather just accept cards. Some people prefer it. It's a lot simpler, and I got a lot more sales that way. All right, guys, thanks for watching. This has been the first stream since Thursday. It's day, what is it? It's day 47. So thank you guys for watching. I'm going to take off now.
Flippin' live, flippin' live, flippin' live, flippin' live, flippin' live. We're gonna strive. We're here to learn and gonna earn. Flippin' live, flippin' live.
Another thing, as you can tell, I'm super excited about this sale and the potential for the future with it. But as it was going on, I was continuing to get eBay sales and seeing them come in on my phone. Over the weekend, I've got a good amount of sales on eBay, for me anyway. Also, FBA, my sales kept coming in. I just got a notice this morning for a merchant fulfilled sale. The last 2 days. Today I already have 3 sales. Yesterday I had over $120 in sales, and then on Friday I had over $150 in sales on FBA. So that's why I'm so excited about doing FBA as big as I can as I get book donations, and I send off all the FBA stuff. I already have a growing pile here on the floor of about 10 books, and I'm going to get a donation today. So anyway, as I'm going with that, that's exciting as I continue to evolve my local sale and build that up, that I can continue to have that income stream from FBA, from Amazon, and also from eBay. So I see the potential of combining the two together, and that's exciting. So thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. Yeah, to take cards. Yeah, definitely going to be taking cards going forward. So thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. I actually shot some video clips leading up to the sale, and I didn't shoot anything when people were there, but I shot right before and during when people were not there, and then afterwards. So I will be posting, I have to edit it, of course, posting a video about the sale hopefully this week. So thanks for watching, guys. Oh, also happy Father's Day to all the fathers. As you heard, I was my wife and daughter told me happy Father's Day. But anyway, happy Father's Day to everybody. You guys deserve your own day. So thanks for watching. I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care. Be safe. Keep booking.